Hi, let's talk about strings and things. I designed a comprehensive stringing guideline that will assist you in selecting the ideal string setup and guide you on the frequency of stringing for juniors and adults, both recreational and competitive. Now, I posted a video about 2 years ago. I recently watched it and it needed an update. So if you've seen my previous video, I hope you stay tuned and find this one more informative. Or if you haven't seen it, stay tuned and watch this one. All right, let's get into it. First, let's discuss the progression of stringing. I have 4 levels where players must improve and prove their skills before moving up a level. Using the wrong strings at the wrong time can be a player's downfall without even knowing. So let's take, for example, a young junior or 2.5 adult player playing with polyester strings just because they heard that's what the pros are playing with. Well, it can be detrimental to their game at this stage of their skill development, leading to subpar performance and potential injury. So now let's take a look at the 4 levels. Here we have level 1, and this is a full bed of nylon strings, which includes synthetic gut and a multi-filament. The player type is a 10 and under junior, which could be a green ball or a yellow ball player, and the adult would be a 2.5 to a 3.0 level. The string life, typically they don't break strings. I put down here 6 months or longer. The attributes of a synthetic or a multi-filament string is that it has a softer feel, it has more comfort, and it has more power with less effort. So that's good for this level of player. Now the reference tension range can be from 44 to 58, and this is always based on the head size and the string pattern. I normally recommend a 17 gauge synthetic gut for the added benefit of spin and power. And remember, these type of players are not breaking strings anytime soon. So why not select a couple of colors and make it fun? You could go with a hybrid, and let's say go with these 2 colors, and be color coordinated and match the color of your racket. Or you can go with these 2 colors and be wild and not match the color of your racket. Here we have level 2, and this is a hybrid string setup where I have nylon in the mains and polyester in the cross. The player type is now an older junior, 11 or older, and the adult level is now 3.5 or higher. Now the string life, this is important. This is how the player moved from level 1 to level 2, is when they can break the nylon strings within 6 to 8 weeks. So that means they're now proving themselves that they're actually getting stronger and they can handle a hybrid string setup. Now some of the attributes is that it does last longer than nylon, so that's good. It does lose tension faster though than nylon. It has a stiffer feel than nylon. Now this string setup has more power and feel than hybrid number 3, which I'll share next. It requires more racket head speed, which they are already doing because they can already break the nylon strings. And it does enhance the spin production, therefore creating a heavier ball. The tension range in this will range from 42 to 54, and again it's always based on the head size and the string pattern. And I always string the polyester 2 pounds less than the nylon strings. Here's a popular string setup that I use for the number 2 hybrid. For the mains, I have Prince Lightning Pro, and for the crosses, Prince Tour XP. The reason why I like this number 2 hybrid, where I have the synthetic gut in the mains and the polyester in the crosses, well, let me come over there and show you. I like the softer strings in the mains for the reason that it actually snaps back a lot better than having it in the crosses, because you have the softer main strings sliding across the stiffer cross strings. And because the polyester is a lower tension, it allows for that snapback also. So if I'm moving the main strings, it might be hard to see with all of this in the background. Let me try it over here. But basically it's just snapping back where into its original position. But let me pull up one of these cross strings down where it is the polyester. So let's say if this was the mains and if it did move out of position, you can see how it's just staying right there, and it's not snapping back in position. So that's one of the main reasons why I like this hybrid setup. And a lot of times I'll bypass the number 3 because of the fact, because of the snapback. I even have a racket here, and I'm not going to be talking about natural gut, but just to show you an example, I have one here that it's about a month old, and this has the natural gut in the mains and a polyester in the crosses. So yeah, even after a month old, I mean, you can see how it's just moving right back into position. And if I were to move a cross string down, look at that, it's just staying right there with a large gap. So I really like the snapback and the feel of this hybrid 2 setup. Next we have number 3, which is a hybrid of polyester in the mains and nylon in the crosses. Now, sometimes I will progress from the 2 to the 3 if you're looking for something that's more durable. But these are typically junior players that are 13 and older, or adult level that's 4.0 and higher. Now the reason why they're progressing from level 2 to level 3 is that they can now break number 2 hybrid within 6 weeks. So like this level where they move from here to here, they're doing the same here now because of the fact that they can start breaking it. Now it does have a longer life than hybrid number 2, so it is a more durable string setup. It does have a slightly stiffer feel than level 2, more control than number 2 hybrid. It does require more racket head speed, and it does enhance the spin production, again creating a heavier ball. The tension range is the same, and the polyester is always strung 2 pounds less than the nylon, and it doesn't matter that it's now in the mains. Finally, we have level 4, and this is a full bed of polyester strings. It can either be in 1 gauge or 2 gauges, which I'll get more into later, but the player type is a 13 and over junior or a 4.0 adult. Now, the reason why you would move them from a 3 to a 4 is that they can actually break number 3 hybrid within 2 to 3 weeks. But again, sometimes you can go straight from level 2 to level 4. The only benefit I really feel about level 3 is that it has a longer string life than 2. Now, the advantage of level 4 is that it has a longer life than both hybrids. It does lose tension though faster than the hybrids. It has a stiffer feel than both hybrids. Now it requires even more racket head speed. So this is where I mentioned earlier where a 2.5 adult or a young junior player, they're not ready for this type of string setup because they don't have that racket head speed. The polyester string enhances the spin production, which creates a heavier ball. The one downside to a polyester string is that it can cause arm or shoulder injuries if introduced too early or if it's strung too tight. So here I have the tension range, which is a little bit lower. I'll go down to 40 to 54 typically. And again, it depends on the head size and the string pattern. Earlier I mentioned in this level 4 full bed of polyester, I'll combine 2 gauges. So let's take a couple of strings and make it fun and colorful. We'll go with the Babolat RPM Rough in a 17 gauge in this orange color, and the Prince Vortex 18 gauge in this black color. We'll put them together and voila! So besides having this colorful, fun combination of strings, which happens to match this racket, the reason for having a thicker main strings, I feel, is that it pops out of the string bed a little bit more. And when you impart spin, whether it be top spin or slice, it does create a little bit more grab on the ball, therefore creating more spin potential. Also, having the thicker mains will make it more durable and provide more control. Now, as for the thinner crosses, it will add a little bit more pop and power, so I feel it's combining the best of both worlds. Now, I did use a textured main in this hybrid setup, and on the crosses, I went with the Vortex 18 gauge, which is it's shaped, but it's basically pretty round. So by having a round cross and a textured mane, it does allow the strings to move and snap back and provide a little bit more bite to the ball. It does tend to feel a little bit more muted whenever you play with a textured string, but you could also try it with a shape string. And if you went with a round main string, you'll get a little bit crisper feel. So if you haven't experimented or if you have tried this thick-thin combination, leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear what you think. Now that I've discussed the progression of stringing, where you improve and prove your level by breaking strings, let's talk about the frequency of stringing when you don't break your strings. But let's say you're the type of player who thinks, why replace your strings when they're not broken? Well, you must watch my video when and why you should restring your racket. Now let's take a look at the frequency of stringing. And if you did watch that video, there was a similar chart, but this is an updated version of that. And if you want a copy of this chart or the stringing progression guidelines, email me at amstringing@gmail.com and I'll be happy to send you one. On this chart, I have 3 columns: the player type, the string type, and the frequency of stringing. On this first column on the player type, it's recreational, weekend warrior type of player, playing once or twice a week. And then we have the competitive player that's playing 2 to 3 times or even more, that's actually competing in leagues or tournaments. Now the type of string, I have the four strings: the nylon, the hybrid, the polyester, and I even included natural gut. So you'll see that down here, the same. So depending on the type of string and the type of player, that's going to determine the frequency of stringing. So we're going to take a look at this first one here. And for the recreational player that's using a nylon string, I have 9 to 12 months. So again, it's because of the type of string. Nylon can hold tension decently, so at least every year should be restrung. Now with this hybrid setup with the polyester, it would make sense that you would have to restring it more often because of the fact that the polyester does lose tension quicker than nylon. Then we have the polyester string that, again, because it's a full bed, now you're looking at 2 to 3 months versus 3 to 6. So here we have natural gut, and it would make sense that it's 12 months because of the fact that it does maintain tension and its resilience longer than any other string. All right, so now we have the competitive player and using a nylon string, and you'll notice a trend here. The frequency of stringing will be reduced to about half the amount of time here. So we have 3 to 6 months here, and then on a hybrid string it drops to 3 months versus 3 to 6 here, and the polyester will come down to about a month. And for the competitive player, if you're playing at a high level, I would actually recommend it every 2 weeks if you can afford to do so. And then we have the natural gut, which is here at 6 months. So you can see that there is a trend depending on the type of player, the type of string, in terms of how frequent you should have your racket restrung. And again, if you want a copy of this chart and the other chart, email me and I'll be happy to send you one. Whether you're a junior or adult who plays recreationally or competitively, restringing your racket regularly will enhance your overall playing experience. And if you break strings regularly, stringing your racket with the right string at the right time will optimize your playing performance. Thanks for watching. Happy stringing. And let your strings play. Are you the type of player that breaks strings weekly or likes to tinker with strings? Either way, it can be costly, but have you thought about investing in a stringing machine? If this is your next move and you want to learn how to string, check out the International Alliance of Racket Technicians. As a premium member for $49 a year, take advantage of their free stringing course, Basic Stringing 101. The course will provide a solid foundation in racket stringing as you learn from an expert panel of global ambassadors. Also, as a premium member, you'll get access to all other website content. And if you decide to take your stringing skills to the next level, you'll get a discount on the Advanced Stringing 201 course. We hope you check it out and enjoy the course as much as we enjoyed putting it together.